Okay, I try to give more time to the stragglers before I begin the process of speaking about the Electoral Act 2022. So please, my apologies, I'm starting about 12 minutes behind. That's because I was preparing. I was trying to verify certain things regarding the Electoral Act and the violation itself, and certain facts as to the persons I'll be talking about. If you've not heard, then maybe you've been somewhere outside of the country of Nigeria. The Electoral Act was amended and it was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. Clap for him. The challenge is that a lot of the things that are in the Electoral Act really were not read by the senators, by the members of the House of Representatives, and it was not discussed with the people and the persons of the Federation of Nigeria, and most significantly, was not read by the governors. It affects political appointees in one way. We talked a lot about the effect it has on the political appointees. And then that one of the effects is that you have to resign from your political appointment before you can vie for political elective office. It really did shake the country, and a lot of politicians who had to resign from their political appointment. If you're just joining me, apologize, I'm starting a little bit late, but it's very important that you share this. Sharing is caring, and sharing spreads the message, and the message is expected to be heard and to be read and to be listened to widely. The most important thing is share this. If you're just joining me, please do share it. It will be very, very helpful to share it. I apologize, we're starting a little bit late, but share this. The idea is that people are only as powerful as we make them or as we let them. If you don't share, then the point will be lost, because a light under a bushel does not bring about any light for the people to see. So no matter what I say, if nobody is hearing me, then it really does not bring about any meaningful change. The meaningful change will be probably just within myself. So it's very important that you share this as you listen. If you are listening live, share it. If you are listening after I've concluded this conversation, share it as well. It's not going to be more than 15 minutes. There is really nothing to talk about that will take that long. But just to tell you, first of all, the broad strokes of the Electoral Act as it affects double nomination forms. I did tell you that it actually affected the political appointees, and the fact that they must resign from their political appointment. One of the other things that people didn't take into account is that it would also affect the elected officials who want to vie for one position and hold on to another position. You can't do that anymore. Under section 115, subsection 1D of the Electoral Act as amended 2022, you can't. You can't say, I want to run for this Senate and I want to run for the House of Representatives at the same time. You can't say, I'm going to try my luck running for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and if that fails, then I'll just go ahead and run for the Senate. We all know, at least most of us that have been following the trends in Nigeria in the last couple of election cycles do know that a lot of the governors generally believe that they have, or they are entitled, or should be able to retire to a sumptuous, palatial, well-paid retirement home. And that retirement home, of course, is the Senate. Most don't want to go to the House. Some do go to the House, but I'm not sure if there is any governor that has gone to the House. But generally, they want to go to the Senate, where they can have constituent monies allocated to them, where they can have salaries with bonuses, housing bonuses, vehicle bonuses, assistant bonuses, clothing bonuses, furniture bonuses. I mean, it runs into millions and millions and millions of naira. Thank you. I can see you, Madam Ite. Thank you so very much. I can see you, Antara, watching. Thank you. Please just share this. If there is nothing else you're going to be able to do, even if you cannot watch this immediately till the end, share this so others may be able to watch it. Either watch me live speaking about this Electoral Act and the violation, or watch me later on when they have time. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you, Gloria. I know it's about what time? It's about 6 o'clock out there in California, 6 a.m. And I'm grateful for you watching it. Please share it. So we're talking about the retirement home of the governors. Let's take a look at some of those retirement homes. Godswill Akpabio retired to the Senate. Of course, some other governors did retire to the Senate. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying it is appropriate or inappropriate. I'm just giving you an example of what transpired in the last electoral cycle. Some people actually were even compensated with senatorial seats and promised that they will be the next governor. If they just take the senatorial seat, hold on to it, and then the next electoral cycle, they will be pushed forward to be the governor. Here is the challenge. We now move into the latest election cycle, 2023 election cycle. We have a lot of governors who are going to expend their 8 years in office, and they want to have somewhere to go. Generally, where do these governors want to go? They want to go to the Senate. Two have been caught in the trap of running for president and also trying to hold on to a senatorial seat. I'll focus on one because that one is the one that is under litigation now, and the facts are very well known. And the facts are a little bit, easy to understand, and I'll let you be the judge if it is appropriate or not. What I'm going to tell you is already in the court, and is already in the court of public opinion, and the governor has spoken about it as well. And I'm talking of the Umahi state governor, Dave Umahi, sometimes referred to as Governor David Umahi. He was previously with the People's Democratic Party, Power, and he moved over to the All Progressive Congress, Change. So he has been a powerful change in the political arena in the state of Ebonyi for the last 7 years. I mean, however you want to crossbreed that powerful change, unfortunately, the two have merged at some point. But the important thing is, some suspected his cross-carpeting or moving from PDP to APC was mainly because he wanted to run for president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and was reasonably assured, or did have reasonable confidence, that he will be nominated as the next president, as a presidential candidate for the APC, All Progressive Congress. But, you know, man proposes and God disposes. Here is the challenge. He somehow hedged his bet that he might not actually get the nomination. Please share this if you're listening. I'll be very, very grateful. By the way, I did promise I'll buy the light, and I hope you can see the effect of the light. It's actually, let me see here. You can see the colors change. My next broadcast, I will show you what the light really looks like. I'm just making a pause so that we are not taken away by all of this. Here is the light. It's quite nice, quite nice. So that's just the pause so that we are not taken and rushed away in all that is happening. Let me see if I can dim it just a little bit. Good. Fantastic. I remember before the light, I used to appear very, very dark. But please, if you're watching, just go ahead and share it. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I'm going to talk about Dave Umahi's actions as governor of the Ebonyi State in running for president, which he has a right to, and also trying to run for the senatorial seat of the Ebonyi South Senatorial District, which I'm not sure he should have. He ran for the president, or not for the president. He didn't get that far. I got that far running for the candidate under the Nigeria for Democracy Party in 2019. He didn't get that far. He didn't get the nomination, so he was never a candidate. But he did buy the nomination forms, 100 million naira. I don't know where he got the money from, but I assume that he got it from legitimate sources. But he did buy the nomination form, 100 million naira, which is not a problem. He did run, he lost. which, well, you win or you lose. I mean, that's what elections is all about. But here is the challenge. In losing, he had hedged his bet that he will go ahead and retire in the Senate. And in doing so, he's going to vie for the senatorial district, Ebonyi South Senatorial District. In hedging his bet further, he apparently learned a lesson that Lawan, the Senate president, didn't learn. He had his younger brother, Austin Umahi, to run for nomination for the senatorial seat, Ebonyi South Senatorial seat, and hold that nomination for him. Austin Umahi, who is his younger brother, did run, contest for the nomination, and he won the nomination. He was number one. Now, the second person, the person that came second, the fantastic woman, Agom Eze. That's her name. Her full name is Anna Agom Eze. She came second in that nomination contest for Ebonyi South Senatorial District. Now, note that name, Anna Agom Eze, because it will pop up again in this conversation, and it will pop up again in the national discourse, and it will pop up again as we set precedents in our litigation cycle for the Federation of Nigeria. Here is the thing. After having lost the nomination for the presidency under the All Progressive Congress, Dave Umahi came back, got into whispers with his younger brother, told him, hey brother, step down, withdraw your nomination, and I will go ahead and proceed with stepping in for you. Yeah. Austin Umahi did step down, withdraw his nomination, took his withdrawal to the party office, submitted it in person in accordance with the electoral laws, and here is where it gets a little bit tricky. Once he withdrew his nomination, the problem was that Dave Umahi, the governor, did not contest in the nomination for the Ebonyi South Senatorial District. So he could not just step in and become the candidate for Ebonyi South Senatorial District for the APC. He couldn't just do that. So what did he do? What happened was that they scheduled on the 9th of June 2022, just about a month ago, another primaries. In that primaries, well, here is the challenge. You still need the supervisory observation and presence of INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC says it does not recognize that particular primaries. It recognizes the previous primaries that had Austin Umahi as the nominated candidate and had Anna Agom Eze as the next person that came in after Austin Umahi. That is where the challenge begins. Because INEC refuses to recognize Governor Dave Umahi, it recognizes the withdrawal of Austin Umahi. Therefore, that place, that placeholder, the name is withdrawn and no name is tendered or put on the portal as a candidate under APC. What happens now is David Umahi, Governor David Umahi, takes INEC by the scruffs of the neck, drags it to court, that he should be recognized as the candidate of the All Progressive Congress because he has stepped in place of his brother, Austin Umahi, who did withdraw. Here is the challenge. Agom Eze, remember that name? Full name, Anna Agom Eze, a brave and strong woman. What did she do? She said, nah, doesn't work that way. And decided to drag both INEC and Governor Dave Umahi to court. And while in court, the case between Dave Umahi and INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, where Dave Umahi is asking the court to issue a writ of mandamus to INEC to put his name as the candidate for APC. The judge says, nah. What was the name of that judge? I'll give you the name of the judge right away. A brave judge, Fatun Rickman. Justice Fatun Rickman, or Judge Fatun Rickman. What's his? It's in the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court. So he says, nah, you're not a candidate. You didn't contest. And as a matter of fact, the court, sua sponte, that's a Latin way of saying on its own, by its own volition, says, beware of the violation of the Electoral Act, section 115, subsection 1D, and hinted that Governor Umahi might be in violation of that act. Governor Umahi did not take the hint lightly. Recently, he was on Channels TV talking about that particular section of the Electoral Act. And if you don't know, what that act basically says, let me just break it down, because law is supposed to be practiced in such a manner that even your grandmother, my own grandmother, should be able to understand what you're saying. Law is not practiced by Latin terminologies that nobody understands. Law is practiced where you're able to explain what the law says. Okay? This is what the law says. You cannot run for nomination in two different offices within the same electoral cycle. Period. That's the end of it. You want me to read it verbatim what it says? Let me go ahead and read it verbatim what it says. What it says here is, a person who signs a nomination paper or result form as a candidate in more than one constituency at the same election, okay, violates the law. And what does constituency mean here? Constituency means separate elections, whether it is presidential, governorship, senatorial, House of Representatives, etc. Okay? Any candidate who so engages in this act violates section 115, 1D of the Electoral Act, is subject to, guess what? 2 years. Ofu, abua. Okay? Da, biu. Okay? Ke, iba. In Ibiana language, 2 years jail term. Yes, no exception. Here is the challenge. A lot of the times that some governors act, they act with the mindset that they have immunity and nothing can happen to them. And that's probably the mindset of Governor Umahi. Nothing can happen to us. Guess what? The fact that you've committed this offense, you can still serve that jail time at the expiration of your gubernatorial experience. So once you step down as governor in May or June of 2023, you could be prosecuted. The facts are there. Here is where we as people of the Federation of Nigeria come in, because the cobwebs are not meant for the flies and to leave the vultures and the eagles out. The law is the cobweb. It catches all, and it does not have any regard for anybody. The law is blind. The execution of justice is blind. So the governor must obey the laws of the land. If Dave Umahi bought 2 forms, which he admitted to, both for the presidential election and for the Ebonyi South Senatorial District, he admitted to that. That's not in contest yet. If he bought those 2 forms, having bought those 2 forms, he's subject to section 115, subsection 1D of the Electoral Act 2022. Here is the argument of His Excellency, His Excellency, Governor Dave Umahi. He says he didn't buy them at the same time. It's irrelevant. Let's see what that section says again. It's irrelevant whether he bought it at the same time, or he bought it 1 month after, or 1 week after, or 1 minute after. As long as it is in the same election cycle, he has violated that section, section 1151D of the Electoral Act 2022. Let's see whether his argument will stand. I'm not the final arbiter. The final arbiter is the court. He has already lost round 1. So if he goes for round 2, which is the actual violation and jail time imposition, I don't know if he will win. I think he will lose if we are doing the right thing. Please share this if you're watching it. Let's see here. In more than one constituency at the same election, not at the same time, but at the same election. Well, did he buy the presidential nomination form for the general elections in 2023? Yes. Did he buy the nomination form for the general election for the senatorial district of Ebonyi South for 2023? Yes. Is it at the same election? The same election being the general elections in 2023? Yes. Has he violated section 115, subsection 1D of the Electoral Act 2022? I'll leave you to be the judge. The judge Fatun Rima did hint that that violation probably has occurred, and it's up now to INEC to ensure that everybody that violates the Electoral Act is subject to the law and is made to face the law. And if INEC prevails, of course they should be sentenced to 2 years in jail as prescribed by the law. If they prevail, of course they they have their freedom, because these things are pretty important. If we do not set examples by not letting anybody get away with violation of the Electoral Act, we cannot use the small people who are taking 50 naira, 500 naira, 2,000 naira, 10 naira, and selling their votes to set examples. No, that would be improper, that would be wrong, that would be unappreciated by the general public of Nigeria. Therefore, INEC must sit up. The prosecution arm of INEC must sit up. And the courts must close their eyes and dispense justice where it is found to be appropriate. And anybody that has violated the Electoral Act, specifically section 115, subsection 1D, should be made to face the law. Has David Umahi, Governor David Umahi, who bought a form on 28th of April 2022 to contest for the nomination of the president as a candidate of the APC for presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Has he violated that section of the law? Well, he has if he bought nomination forms for the Ebonyi South senatorial district in the same election cycle. He has. But who will be the final arbiter in this instance? It will be the court. But in the court of public opinion, we must begin the process of holding our elected officials to account for what they do in office and even for what they do in preparation for the next office. That means if you use state funds to, run your elections, you should be held to account. Because there is a financial aspect under the Electoral Act 2022 that speaks as to what should be done using monies by the political parties. And if you have a godson and you want to impose your godson on the state or the local government or the senatorial seat, usually is the state by the governors in different states, then you must not use your the state's resources. You can use your personal resources, you have a right to do so, but you can't use the state resources. If they do use state resources, well, then they are guilty of having violated maybe a different section of the law, not the electoral law in this instance, but the financial laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But in this instance, we just want to show that that law does exist, and we want to give an example, specific example where there might have been a violation of that law, and to give a specific example of the governor that we think has violated the law. This has nothing to do with any of the political parties. Both APC and PDP are the same. As you can see, this was a man that was in PDP and defected to APC. Whatever values he had in PDP, he has now taken over to APC. Whatever values that are in APC, he has now imbibed them. But we must no longer vote for political parties. We must vote for the right person because we want good governance. Good governance will only come if we participate in elections. I can tell you this, that if you're not interested in politics, be interested in good governance. Thank you.